in the secret, in the quiet place. Well, okay, that's it. Healthy group. All right. I think if you don't know the Chi Alpha fivefold philosophy, do you know it? Worship, discipleship, is it? Fellowship, evangelism, I know, and prayer. All right. In a nutshell, I think for a group to be healthy, all these things have to be happening. All right? I want to be open and honest with you. One of the things that we really struggle in Chi Alpha at Florida State, it seems to be the same thing year after year. It is prayer, all right? So I look at this as a wheel with spokes, all right? And I don't know if you know anything about bike mechanics, but if you got a bad spoke, this thing's not going to roll real well. And usually it flattens out and it becomes a rocky ride. And so what we do, we evaluate every year. And Christina knows this. We used to do it every week. We want to know how we're doing in these areas. And usually with college students, very good. We are very concerned, and we make sure we take time for students to be discipled. Fellowship seems to be very natural in our group. Evangelism we do have to work at, but we do it. But prayer has been a challenge. However, this year, I don't know if you've noticed, been this big push on prayer among college students. And so that's really been becoming a little bit more healthy in our group. But this would be a good sign to see how your group is doing. Now, let's just say you're starting from scratch, which I started from scratch. I pioneered a group from zero. And one of the things I really focused on from the beginning was fellowship and prayer. I opened my house all the time to students. I had children. It was inconvenient, but it really helped build a really good foundation of students to come to our house. Our group has grown so much that we can't do that anymore. I purposely bought a house for two reasons. One, and it's a very nice house. One is better school zone for my kids. But second is, how can I fit more people in fellowshipping in my house? Now, the group has grown so much I can't do it anymore, so I have to now just have people groups come. Freshmen only come to the house, or international students, or student leaders. But I can't have the whole group anymore. The maximum, one time we had, for a watch a football game fellowship at our house, we had 100 people at my house. And so we are known on my street, and I live in a very long street, and it's some very nice homes, but we're known as the party house, because they see all the cars parked. In the past year, it's not been that much because we've got a facility, and that's changed a little bit. But when you're starting out from scratch and you got 5 people, have them over at your house. What I try to do is I try to minister to the 5 senses, all right? And so a good meal from a college student in a real home, not in a dorm, but your home, and they sit down and they're eating food. They smell it, they taste it, they see it, they feel comfortable. And I try to minister to the student on all 5 sense levels. And it helps them connect. I can't tell you how many times I've had people say, I love being in your home, because they're tired of being in a dorm or an apartment. And so when they see little kids running around, or they see little babies, that's not a nuisance to them. That's cool. That's like real home. And so a healthy ministry is having these things. But when I first started out, I was working on fellowship. My very first Chi Alpha service was 7 students. Okay? 4 of them were 35 years and older. Okay? And I met in a hallway that had like 5 rooms right next to each other. And right next to me, I was the last room of the hallway. And right next to me took up 3 rooms, the collapsible walls, was Campus Crusade for Christ. And I had 120 kids in there. And so can you imagine, I'm looking for Chi Alpha, and you see this vibrant group just jamming out for Jesus. And I'm on the other end, please keep coming, keep coming. It was so bad that first night. At first, I mean, Campus Crusade, the collapsible wall, right? They put their band on the other side of that collapsible wall instead of the other side. And so I'm trying to share to my 7 students and my wife for the first time. I couldn't even hear myself. They were so loud, all right? But what I was able to do was take them all to my house later on, those 7, and build a relationship through friendship and fellowship and just pour my life into their life. I got to do, I think, all their weddings in that 7 group. You know, I remember being in an office and looking at the Wesley Center guy's office, and I saw all those pictures of people getting married in his group. And I remember thinking, Lord, one day I like a wall of weddings I've done in Chi Alpha. Well, I don't have a wall big enough anymore. I don't even do it anymore. I don't even put pictures up anymore. Just send me a picture. I'll put it in a photo album. We've done so many Chi Alpha weddings, all because we've just opened our lives and hearts to students, opened up our home. My home was their home. And so, again, as the groups gets bigger, you have to just be more creative. And we prayed a lot. And then the very next best thing I did is begin to implement discipleship. You guys weren't in my discipleship courses last week, but do you guys do discipleship by design, anyone? All right. We do that. We still do it. Some people use different information and training. We do D by D. It works for us. It has worked for us for 13 years. But the very first thing I did was train leaders. So a healthy group is someone who trains leaders. And the sad thing is the 3 I trained, it took us a semester of training, all graduated and left, and they weren't around for the fall. But see, again, wasn't for me to worry about. I wanted to invest in their lives, even though I was not going to get a return from them. But I knew that when they left, Drew and Kim and Jen, when they left, that they would be good disciplers wherever they went, and somebody else would be blessed. Planting seeds, even though it wasn't going to be in my barn, it's going to be someone else's barn, but I was planting seeds. The next year, we did 4 students. And then 2 graduated, 2 stayed. We only had 1 small group for guys and girls for many years. I think when Christina showed up, it was just 1 or 2 small groups. And but I kept training. One year, we had 35 students get trained in discipleship by design. The past 3 or 4 years, we have at least 40 to 50 students being trained in discipleship by design every year. And so this coming year, we did 35 students. And not all of them graduate, not all of them did it, not all of them are going to come back, but about 20 of them are going to be. So we'll have about 60 trained disciplers in the fall coming this year. But it started off with those 3 that I started with. So I began to implement discipleship. When we first started off, I was the lead worship guy. You know, I was the one that's singing, Lord, I lift your name on high. You remember that song? On the keyboard. I was good. And it was kind of funny, though. I had that keyboard that looked like a guitar. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. That used to be cool, though. I've seen them come back. Healthy, diverse group. Girls, guys, Hispanics, African Americans, good old boys, city kids. I made a vow to Jesus. If God thought in his infinite wisdom to bring someone to Chi Alpha, that I would take care of them. I didn't care what they looked like, what they smelled like. If they were problem students, high maintenance students, I took them in. Sometimes it was tough. But what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to reject people because of what they might look like or they're going to be a pain. Because if I did that, then I would just fall in the same category as a fraternity and sorority who pick and choose who they want in their group. And so I said, I can't do it. I don't want to be that. I want to be something Jesus wants me to be and just accept people from all walks of life. Now, Christina, you were with me like 5 years because of internship and all that. So she got to see a real good picture of all sorts of people who've come in through our ministry. I mean, all different types, and we just want to feel them welcome. So if you got a healthy group, what a healthy ministry looks like is that you're fulfilling the fivefold philosophy. People, I believe if you do that, people will be drawn to your ministry. That your ministry is a place, I'm really big on having fun, okay? I have a joke, is that there is no way, it's not a joke, it's a saying, there is no way I'm going to let the world have more fun than Chi Alpha. 2 years ago, we had a picnic at the end of the year picnic with Chi Alpha, for Chi Alpha, and we rent this cabana thing at the FSU picnic area. It's a lake and all that. And right next to us was another group that rented it, and they set up a little bit before us. And my associate Jeremy, he says, Mario, they're bringing kegs of beer. And he goes, I don't know, who do you think is going to have more fun? Because that's the thing, we're not going to let the world have more fun than us. I said, it'll be close, but we're going to have more fun than them. And we did, man. We had much more fun than them. We didn't need alcohol to have fun. And so, because I believe that Christians should be the happiest people on earth, we have the joy of the Lord. And people from all walks of life, you can come in and be welcomed in our ministry. It doesn't matter what you look like. And so when those people are drinking beer and they look at Chi Alpha and they see all sorts of different people, I want them to say, wow, they accept everyone. And we do. We've had people who are dealing with homosexuality. We've had people that are dealing with, all sorts of issues. Doesn't matter. Come in, we'll take care of you the best we know how. Healthy group, people feel welcome. All right? Healthy group is someone who's discipling. You're discipling as the leader. You're leading. Healthy group, you're having real biblical fellowship. Worship is almost a given with this age group. I'm training people. Evangelism. We haven't done it this past year so much, but we would go to the bars and do evangelism. We used to carry this big cross and walk out on Thursday nights in Florida State and just set up a cross in front of all the bars sitting there and just talk to people. Now, that may not be for you, and we only did that for a season, but we were making sure we were doing evangelism. We never missed a union opportunity. Now, this is what I found out. 13 years. We never miss a union opportunity. Every week on Wednesday is Union Day for us. We never miss. Now, of course, we've missed once or twice a semester, but we never miss. And we are the only group that never misses. Now, the other groups that are out there that all the time it seems like is the Catholic group. But you remember I told you how everyone shows up for orientation? Well, they don't show up every week. We show up every single week. And because we want to present the gospel that anybody that comes to our table, or we go to them, and we're always out there doing evangelism. So healthy, a ruler would be those 5 things. You had a question, comment? Union Day is, okay, and that's true. Not every school has this. At Florida State, the student center is called the Union, where there's usually a cafeteria or restaurants, meeting spaces, movie theaters, and usually they have a day where they make it a place where all the clubs can present themselves and try to attract people. In our group at Florida State, we have groups from we have a guy that's, anti-circumcision. He puts up posters and pictures and everything. We have a girl that is animal cruelty. We've had girls actually protest, and their group, presenting their group, sit out there in a bra and panties because she was protesting clothing. But I was thinking, she won't come out next week because there's a cold front coming, and she wasn't there, so. The health people on campus, they come out there and they're giving out condoms and talking about safe sex. Usually the cults are out there. Jehovah's Witnesses are out there. Mormons are always out there. Then we have our Catholic friends come out there. All the fraternities, especially the smaller fraternities ones, the ones that are for Latin girl, sororities, the Latin guy fraternities, and the black fraternities are there, and it's a wild, crazy day, and I love it. And we're out there with them. Not every school has that, but ours does, and so that's the opportunity for us to do evangelism. There's already a crowd there. Any questions? What time is it? What time are we supposed to end? At 20 after? I don't know how you guys are doing it. You don't either, do you? Any questions on a healthy group? Healthy group, staff's getting along together, praying together. Just good ministries happening. What I would suggest to you, if you're on your own, how many are going to be by yourself doing ministry? Right. The rest of you are going to be on a team or staff? Raise your hand if you're going to be on a team or a staff. Oh, you lucky dogs. That ain't right. You're by yourself? What school? Where? Northern Montana. Hey, really, you guys are lucky dogs to be with a team. It's hard to go by yourself. But let me suggest to you, if you're by yourself, get outside assessment. Let someone say, hey, watch me for a week. What could I do better? Ask people to pour into your life and say, how can I do what I'm doing better? And you guys are this is really a new thing in Chi Alpha. I think if this was 5 years ago, everybody would be going to places on their own. So this is new, and you're really blessed to go to be part of a team, because it's a little bit easier when you're clumped together and helping to reach the campus versus by yourself. Christine, you're doing by yourself, right? And what school are you at? In New Jersey. And so, single girl doing pioneer work on a campus. Any other pioneers? Yeah? Go ahead. Okay, questions? Questions?
I've heard you talk a lot about ideas and, different things that you do, orientation.
Sure.
And this may be for another talk, but what do you do in your service week to week?
Okay.
I'm new at this. I'm actually on staff and doing Chi Alpha at 2 different schools. And at one school, I know a service is not going to work because it's a community.
Right.
But
Right. And I wouldn't, if you're starting off from scratch, I wouldn't do a service. I would definitely start in a small group setting first. And I don't know, maybe tomorrow, I don't know what, I'm doing some class tomorrow, but I could talk about that. That's, what does a week-to-week, a regular week look like? Now, I'll have to think back, because I've had staff for years now, and I'll have to think back what it was like for me being myself. But I will say this, I know this for a fact, I wasn't lazy, all right? Laziness, God cannot honor lazy people. It's like saying, God, really, and this is just a little pet peeve, when we ask God to bless us, we're really asking him usually to bail us out. All right? I'm thinking, how many want financial blessing? Everybody wants financial blessing. I'm waiting for the guy to pray for people to give us wisdom and how to deal with finances, that we're not asking to be bailed out a year down the road. And everything like that. But you're right. So it's a day-to-day thing, and I'll have to just think about it a little bit more. We have some questions in the back.
No, we're pioneering at UNLV.
UN Las Vegas? Oh, wow. Well, let's, seriously, pioneering is not easy. But you know what? I was talking to someone. Doesn't matter what you're pioneering, it's not easy. Do you remember when we prayed this morning? We prayed for those who went before us. I'm not the first nationally appointed missionary. There was others that went before. There were other campus pastors in the 80s that starved to death. Not, figuratively, not literally. But I know of a guy that lived in a bus, a Volkswagen bus, to do campus ministry. And he didn't, he got married, and his wife didn't want to live in a bus. So you know what happened? They quit Chi Alpha. But see, he's the pioneer. And so back then they realized, you know what, we need to have nationally appointed missionaries. And so you're the recipient, and I am as well, from people who've gone before us and laid the groundwork. But pioneering is not easy. So let's just pray for our pioneer people here.